Thank you, Frida, for the amazing introduction. Too good, too good. I'm really happy to be with you all today. You know, I'm really surprised by this introduction. I don't know how you dug up all this information about me. Good job, guys. All right, let me start from the beginning, I guess. My name is Simona. I am the director of digital investigations here in Negative Feed. We are on the call. We have Jeff, which is my business partner and the director of cybersecurity and virtualization. Is more on the hardware side of the business, while I am more on the digital investigations. Of course, these two fields intersect a lot, so we work closely together. Negative Feed is a new company. We started putting it together in 2023, and we have just become a federal corporation in Canada, so meaning that we can conduct business everywhere. Let me talk a little bit about my background, because it might seem unusual, right? That I'm in cybersecurity. How did I get here? We have a background that didn't start with cybersecurity. Let me, I just want to put up my slides. Give me a second. See, this should be it. And share. Can you guys let me know if you can see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So let's start from the beginning. When I was a teenager, I've always loved to write. So writing was my thing, and I always thought that I would end up being a writer in my career. So I wanted to be a professional writer. My parents had different ideas, and they sent me to business school because they wanted me to be an accountant. Of course, I wasn't interested in accounting. I really didn't care for it. But eventually I found a path in at the business school that I attended that was in IT. So I had a strong IT foundation from my studies. And I wasn't an exceptional student, so to speak, because it was part a lack of interest from my part. It was very, those years was very hard for me, trying to do well in subjects that I wasn't really interested in. And I had an ongoing, let's say, conflict with my IT teacher, my IT professor, because I wasn't solving problems the way he was expecting to. So I always was at the bottom of the class in terms of grades because he wanted.
To every point of the structure is a standing crisply God. I was saying to you, it's only a fact that can cover it.
I'm not here. I know that someone is speaking, but I didn't understand. Is there a question there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, you can go on. You can go on. Sorry, that was
okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So, make the story short. I wasn't an exceptional student, and I did have a good foundational IT IT background, but I didn't want to pursue that career. So once I finished my studies, I continued in anthropology. That was my interest, and at the same time, I was paying my studies with journalism. So I started writing for local newspapers, and I was as a freelancer, and I was getting more work because I had an IT background. So I started to write about IT subjects. And IT has always been my background, if you want, my parachute, because when things wouldn't go well in my primary career, I would fall back on IT and I would always get something to do, either writing or consulting for someone. So, you know, I kind of developed two parallel type of interest. And at some point, I was one of the few people who was writing about niche topics, like, for example, Linux distributions. And many years ago, that was that was something. Now it's more common, but um, and that has worked for me for my entire life because I eventually moved out of Italy. Originally, I'm Italian. I moved out of Italy. When at some point in Europe there was a big economic crisis, so it was difficult to find jobs. It was difficult to get paid. So I decided to move out of Italy. I started to work in the UK. I worked in Ireland. And of course, when your primary skill set is based on your language, like journalism, okay, you can write well in one language, but when you're starting in a different language, things change. IT, as all technology, has always been my fallback because technology is international. You can, you know, everybody understands the language of technology. So that was kind of my passport to get into eventually more technical roles. At some point, I was in Ireland and I was working on a translation campaign for Microsoft. It was at a time where they were relaunching their MSN portal. And I worked on that as a translator. And eventually, they Microsoft came back to me and they wanted me as a technical resource. So I took it, even if it was kind of a step back for me. I decided, well, why not to try it? You know, when you don't have many alternatives, you just try something new. And it doesn't matter. It worked out really well for me. I went from being a simple support agent to I became a cloud SME with Microsoft. And from there, once I had, you know, the experience with a multinational, other jobs came. I eventually moved to Canada. And from there, I started, my jobs have been focused on work with for telcos, so for large telecommunication companies, as a project manager, as a business analyst, as a data scientist eventually. And how do you get from there to cybersecurity? Well, there are lots of intersections, okay? From data analysis to cybersecurity. I took some courses, you know, as a certified ethical hacker. I started to propose my new skills to my company. And, you know, they said, okay, let's develop those skills and see where we can get. Eventually, there wasn't a career for me because at that point it was a small company. They didn't have the resources, they didn't have the mindset to start something in cybersecurity. But that gave me the idea to found Negative Feed, so my own company. And Negative Feed is a particular cybersecurity company. We're not a cybersecurity company in the traditional sense, meaning that I am putting together all my previous skills. So as a journalist, I was investigating a lot, you know, a lot of investigative work. As a data analyst, I was doing a lot of reporting. And now with cybersecurity, I put it all together with a particular attention to people and behavior online. So we are one of the few companies that, for example, if not the only one in Canada at least, offering support for cybersecurity victims. And we have a very strong focus on cybercrime. So this is how I got here. It's a very articulated path. It's not linear. And I believe that all the people who have success in this industry don't have a linear career. And I will explain to you why. Okay, so let me get to my next slide. Okay. I believe that most of you are familiar with this cycle. Okay, we start from here, we want a job, we want to get into a particular field. So we start putting together our CV, we look for positions that we might like, and now we start to send these CVs out. And if we are lucky, we get to the interview phase, but most of the people don't get to these two final phases, okay? Why aren't they telling me to join their team? I have what they need, or maybe what am I missing? So you start thinking about what's going wrong, okay? Where did things go wrong? If I didn't get to this phase, to the interview, probably there's something wrong with my CV, or maybe I don't have the skill sets that they wanted. So you start asking you all these questions, and most of the times what happens is that you start sending out hundreds of applications, no matter to whom, and you hope for the best. Okay, so this if this sounds familiar to you, you're really not the only one. And how do you get to the point where we all want to be here, right? We all want the company to extend an invite to you and at least give you a chance to try out your skills. It's complex. It's a complex process, and it doesn't always have to do with you or your skills. Okay, one of the things that I've noticed, like just in January, we published a job for a cybersecurity trainer, to give you an example. And when you publish a job that has the word cybersecurity in it, it's like you are flooded with CVs and applications. That's overwhelming for us too, especially as a small company, to receive such an amount of CVs. And what happens is that you start going through them and they pile up in the hundreds. So how do you stand out in an industry where everything is about standards? Okay, you have standard certifications, you have you know, at some point you look at these CVs and they all look the same. Someone has 20 certifications and you don't even know, even if I'm in the industry, I don't know all of this, what all of these certifications are about. They're all acronyms, and after a while it's like, okay, I get it, you know about cybersecurity, I know that you have the foundation for that, but how are you going to be useful to me for what I need? Okay, as an example, again, for a cybersecurity trainer, the real keyword for me was trainer. Okay, you need to have people skills. You need to have experience in dealing with people, working remotely, and you need to understand that we work with people who are not at a happy phase in their life. Okay, when you work in cybersecurity, you might think that you're cool, that you're going to solve a problem for your customer or the people you're working with. What other people see when you talk about cybersecurity is dollar signs that fly out of the window. You're a cost that they will never recover. Okay, so they're not happy to see you. Right? That's the key thing that you need to understand about cybersecurity is that you need to have soft skills. You need to be able to talk to people and be empathetic and understand what they're going through, because more than you're finding problems in their environment, or you're finding problems in they have a real problem, and that money will never get back to them in any form. You're just a net loss for your customers and for the people you're dealing with. So for me as a business owner, it's absolutely important that you have those skills and you know how to recognize the environment you're in, the situation you're in, and deal with these people's emotions. Okay, it's very emotional for people who have had a data breach or a data leak. They're seeing money flying away from their windows, literally, and they have lawsuits. They have they are handling customers that are worried about their data. They are in a full crisis mode. Okay, and even when you talk about prevention, well, prevention, nobody wants to invest in it. It's very hard for a cybersecurity company to sell prevention services to another company because they say, okay, if this is a cost, I know that this is going to be, this budget was allocated for something else. It was allocated to develop a product. It was allocated to get some more equipment. I am spending it now, and I will never know if it worked or not. We can, as cybersecurity individuals, or companies, we can't assure to our customers that their money will be well spent and that they will never be attacked. Just think about that. Okay, so it's a very difficult industry to be in. It's yes, it's growing, but how is it growing? So you need to have an understanding of the situation, and we'll get that in a little bit. Do you have any questions so far?
Okay. I think someone just asked a question in the chat. My questions will come later. Don't worry, my questions will come later. How do you get an entry-level role from Straw? Someone named Straw. He asked, how do you get an entry-level role? That's his question so far.
Okay, how do you get an entry-level job? You get it by specializing in something that is not cybersecurity. Okay, so, and I will get to this specifically because it's a question that we're asked all the time. There are very little entry positions in cybersecurity because it's a field that is moving very fast, and all the entry-level positions are being replaced by automation and AI. Okay, so you need to consider that if your skill is only cybersecurity and you have you have a generic foundation of what cybersecurity is, but not a specific focus, you're just not valuable enough. Okay, for example, we are a cybersecurity company in essence, but we have very little people that are actually pen testers or they do cybersecurity work in terms of routinely security checks, etc. Why? Because as a small company, we have automated absolutely everything. We just need someone who can go and review and has the specific knowledge of that field. Might be a VoIP assessment, or it can be a networking assessment, or it can be anything very specific, but all the routines are automated. Okay, so it's hard to get an entry-level job in cybersecurity unless you have a specific knowledge of something. Okay, that is, it can be an industry niche, it can be a specific product, it could be anything that is related to cybersecurity, but it's not exactly cybersecurity. Okay, so that's kind of the trick. I'll make you an example to make you understand better. Some time ago, we have received a request for training from an electric engineer. Okay, they wanted cybersecurity training on electric cars. Okay, very specific, and it is for us. Okay, we don't have like specific knowledge of electric cars. As a cybersecurity expert, you might know networking, you know how to look at endpoints, etc. But cars are a very specific ecosystem, and it's easier for an electric engineer to learn the cybersecurity principles that they need to keep their car safe rather than the other way around. If you don't know anything about electric cars, it will be very difficult for you to apply your cybersecurity principles to it. So that's, for example, you're an electric engineer, you can learn cybersecurity, you will have a very specific field that it's very much in demand now. Okay, I don't know if I answered the question, but that's that's the point.
Yes,
and
you did. Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay, and just to go back to here, you know, these are questions that I hear all the time. So how can I prepare for a cybersecurity job? How do I get in? Well, I want to invite you to shift your perspective when you think about cybersecurity and go from here to here. So what questions you should ask yourself before you decide that you want to work in cybersecurity? It's what is cybersecurity? What is cybersecurity? Let's hear it from you.
Okay, so Chica, right? That's Chica. I said no, not Chica. The person that asked the question, right? Is it from the person that asked the question, Simona?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sure. Yeah, I would unmute you now. So yeah, she asked you what exactly is cybersecurity. So just give an answer, and yeah. So I've given you mic access, Straw. Straw here. Okay. Sorry, Simona.
Yeah, hello.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, you asked what cybersecurity is.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Yeah, so cybersecurity is a practice of protecting IT infrastructures, networks, systems, and creating security policy to protect the internet. That's how I explained.
Okay, that's a part of it. That's good. Who else wants to try? Do we all agree?
Yeah, I think someone else even gave a definition in the chat box. Ismail Mohammed said cybersecurity is the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks, unauthorized access, and damage. And it involves using technology. I don't think he finished it, or maybe text limits, but I think we understand what he meant. So yeah, I think they are very similar. The two definitions are almost the same thing, right? Right, Simona?
Yes. Okay. So we are protecting, okay, someone's systems or data, or I would add people, from cybersecurity attacks. Okay, so you need to find out, because it's a very vast, it's a small definition, but it's a very vast domain. You need to find, why do you want to work in cybersecurity? What is your motivation? Okay, and it can be very different for different people. Okay, it could be that you're just interested in the technical side, and maybe you want to do something good because it's a profitable career. Okay, the motivation can be whatever you want, but find that motivation. What is cybersecurity for you? And work on that, build on that. When you're sending out CVs, just find that one motivation that is for you and find a way to put it into your CV or your cover letter. So why do you want to work in cybersecurity? Because right now we have again, you need to be aware of the circumstances that are around cybersecurity careers, depending on where you're sending your CV. Okay, let's say that you want to work for a company in Canada or in the United States. The situation is quite there. Okay, we are having thousands of people being laid off every day from the big companies and from the government. And these people are out in the market and they are flooding, any job position that there is. And more often than not, these people are very experienced. Okay, they have government clearance, they have years of experience with large multinationals. And this is, if you're just starting out and you don't know why or what you want to do in cybersecurity, they will always have an advantage on you. Okay, it's hard for someone who doesn't have anything else to offer to become interesting. Okay, so just be aware of that. And then be aware of your strengths. Okay, maybe you don't have a strong cybersecurity CV, but what are your strengths? Okay, can you, as I said earlier, if it's a trainer position, you might focus on your skills, on your soft skills, on your people skills. If you have, maybe you have worked in the past for another company, working on access management or managing accounts for customers, well, that's access and identity management. So work it in your favor because that's a skill that's useful in cybersecurity. So you have to go through that exercise and understand what your strengths are. Maybe you did something completely different, but the skills that you applied to your previous jobs are useful for cybersecurity. And you need to focus on that. So know what your strengths are so that you can build on them. And then where do you want to be? So, okay, now you're here, but where do you want to be in the future? Okay, what's your ultimate goal? Because when you go into an interview and you explain that, people are understanding that you have a plan and you're serious about it. You're not just jumping on the bandwagon because everybody's going into cybersecurity, and they might want to help you build those skills or build your career towards that. Okay, and finally, why me? Why? How do I fit in the cybersecurity industry? Only you know, okay? You need to understand why someone would choose you over someone else. And you might have some unique skills that make you stand out, even if they're not related to cybersecurity or the IT field. If, for example, you have experience in writing, like taking like myself, well, a good part of cybersecurity when you start is writing reports. Okay, a report that's well written, that's well thought out, that organized well, has a big impact. So if writing is your skill, put that in the CV and maybe write a sample. Okay, just give the person who is looking at your CV a reason to look twice. That's all it takes. Any questions so far? I want to stop here and there just to give you the time to think about these things.
Okay, so I think you should continue with your presentation. We'll take the other questions after your presentation. So
okay,
I think that's the best. So utilize the time, guys. I'm seeing a lot of questions. So yeah, so let's utilize.
Okay, that's great. All right, so here you see we have the cybersecurity at the center. It's our focus, but how do I get into cybersecurity? What skills do I need to be? What certifications? What's my learning path? There is no learning path. You can have a background as diverse as you can see here. So networking, of course, it's one of the foundations of cybersecurity. Access and identity manager or IT administration. These are all skills that are required in cybersecurity roles. You have worked maybe with apps or APIs and or coding, operating systems. Okay, not anybody can go outside of Windows. So you have worked with Mac computers or with Linux. Put down what the distributions you know are, or explore them. Okay, everything's good, and this is cloud computing as a strong component with cybersecurity. And then we go towards reporting, data science, project management, product management, compliance, DevOps, policies. Okay, all of these things, if you have previous experience with one of those, they're all useful skills for cybersecurity in different ways. You just have to bring them out and find how they are applied to cybersecurity. But it's not just technical and mid-management that can go into cybersecurity. Of course, if you have a background in banking and finance, super strong place to be in when you enter cybersecurity, because we need to know how to remediate, for example, a cyber crime, and people have to recover their finances. Companies have to recover their financing. This is a strong point to bring up when you want to enter cybersecurity. Risk management, of course. So if you have dealt with risk in any form, you can, let's say you have worked for an insurance company before, that's very strong case to enter cybersecurity. But also career paths that are not traditionally related to technology in any ways are good. Let's say you're a psychologist, or you work with healthcare or counseling and behavioral analysis. All these things have a role in cybersecurity, because if you think about it, and how does where cybersecurity fails is human behavior, is how we behave online, that determines how weak or strong a company is against cybercrime. So all of these fields are very useful when it comes to cybersecurity. These professions here, they just need a little input, a little context on the main concepts of cybersecurity, and they will be able to bring an incredible value to any company working in cybersecurity. Of course, fraud investigations, insurance, public administration. Why public administration? When you deal with the public, you have a strong background in policies and compliance and all these things, and you gain industry-specific skills. So all of these is incredibly valuable when you bring it to the cybersecurity domain. Auditing regulations. Again, when we talked about training, addiction recovery. So you think, how does addiction recovery fit into cybersecurity? The same way that an expert in gaming and gambling is. Okay, people game, they play online, they gamble online, and that's where cybercrime many times develops. Okay, if someone is an addict to online gaming, they have a higher risk rather than the usual internet user. So all of this specific knowledge is very valuable to a cybersecurity company. We have talked about electric cars, okay, electrical engineers or other type of engineers. We can talk about human resources, okay? If you had experience in human resources, you know how to deal with people, you mostly know how to investigate when there is some claim or some incident in the workplace. So that's absolutely valuable when for workplace investigations. That's something that we also do as a company. Like me, journalism and reporting. How? Well, reporting is the writing side, but then there is all the investigative side. So if you know how to conduct an investigation on anything, how to research identities, how to, I don't know, to follow a money trail, all these things are valuable in cybersecurity. Law enforcement, of course, you have very specific knowledge, and private investigations. There are many private investigators that are being certified now as ethical hackers too, and they can join like physical investigations and digital investigations. So this is another very promising niche. So anything can be cybersecurity. You can come from very different paths of life and still have good chances, better chances than people who only have pure cybersecurity background. Okay, that's my point. So just to put everything in place, if you have any background that can be applied to cybersecurity, just point it out in your CV, point it out in your cover letter, and then the other thing you need to have, it's enough that you have one relevant cybersecurity certification. Which one? It depends on what you want to do, okay, in cybersecurity. So get something that is relevant to you and where you want to be, and that's it. That's all you need. Then another important factor is, of course, the knowledge of local laws and regulations. And this, I can't stress this enough. When I'm looking for someone to join our teams, I often put in my job ad some screening questions, and the screening questions are typically related to location. Okay, this is not because I don't want to find workers somewhere else, or I know that sometimes when you look in some areas of the world, you can get away with paying lower salaries, and many companies do that. However, I need people who know the laws and the regulations of Canada. Okay, if I'm looking for a position in Canada, because if you don't know that, you become a liability, okay, for my company. You need, when you apply for a role in a different country, make sure that you know the context and you know how things work in that country, because sometimes the company has restrictions, maybe because you have a contract with the government and the government requires that you only hire people that have been resident in Canada for the past 10 years, so to give you the clearance. The same is for the US. Every country has different laws and regulations. So just not to waste your time on positions that, you just can't get, because that's how things work. Do your research. Okay, so be aware of these laws and regulations. And if in an interview you show that knowledge, people will be more inclined to hire you, of course, because they don't have to train you on that. It can be very complex. And then, of course, when you apply, just try to understand what the company does and what's the role about. Okay. Again, taking the example of our last job posting, it was for a cybersecurity trainer. Many people just saw the cybersecurity part, and very little people understood that we were looking for a trainer. And if you can train different types of people, different audiences, you can then learn the cybersecurity part, because when you offer training, you can't possibly know everything there is to teach. Okay, so that's try to understand where the position is really focusing on, and understand if it's what you're looking for or not. Because shooting in the dark it doesn't bring you anything. It just overwhelms the companies on the other side, because there are so many that at some point you stop looking. And on your side, it's just a waste of time. You could have applied for some other position that you're really interested in and where you could really bring a value. So this is pretty much my advice based on my experience. Of course, other people out there might look for different things, but this is when I look for someone to join our company, I am looking for something that adds value to the cybersecurity piece. So how do you learn practical skills? Okay, as I said, start with something else. Okay, that's how you gain specific experience and you add your value, and then find real life use case scenarios and applications. So we all know so I assume that who is in this call have gone through some kind of formal training for cybersecurity. So typically during that type of training, they will tell you how to set up your home lab and your environments. There are different applications out there where you can practice your hacking skills legally. These are all invaluable tools, but what really give you an edge over someone else is real case scenarios. And these are not about hacking, okay? Yes, it's helpful, it gives you the mindset, but in real life, a company doesn't hire you to hack anything, okay? We have cybersecurity routines, we have some very specific processes that we follow. We don't really take someone and say, hey, can you hack into this customer? No, it doesn't work like that. Big liability, nobody does that. Okay, so it can be very boring because you're always doing the same thing over and over. And you have to respect very clear rules. Okay, so find real life use cases. How? If you come from the finance domain, find maybe a charity or someone who needs help and find something that can be applicable to the type of position you want to find, even if it's not directly related to cybersecurity. There are out there many insurance companies who, for example, are looking for junior investigators, fraud investigators. That's an excellent start, but it really depends on the domain you want to be and where you want to be in your cybersecurity journey. So find something real, do a project with someone, even if you don't find anybody who can give you a project, get together, network with each other and work on a project together. Okay, that's the easiest thing to do. It's like you need to, I guess, to think out of the box to get that first hands-on experience, and then you can showcase it for to get the real job. So yeah, that's basically how it is. Another important thing that I don't want to leave out is build a reputation. Okay, so cybersecurity is all about trust, gaining the trust of your customer. You need people to trust you. And the sad reality is that some countries don't have a good reputation, okay? And you have to work as an individual against that reputation that's working against you. You need to follow precise rules. You need to show that you understand the context, that you know what you can and what you can't do when you work in cybersecurity. And as an individual, find referrals, find people who can back you up, okay, that can vouch for you. so that you build slowly that reputation that you need to enter the field and give the person, the company that's hiring you, a good feeling about you. Okay, it's really important, and that's how you put yourself on the market. It's a lot of work, but those are basically the big challenges that there are in the field right now. All right, the final, I know that I've talked a lot. Just a final wrap up of do's and don'ts. Okay, so we said avoid being a generalist. Just don't look just at cybersecurity as your unique strength. Avoid cybersecurity only certifications. Any lateral certifications you can get, they're very helpful. Avoid applying for jobs if you're not interested in. It shows when you're not interested in a position and you're just shooting the CV out on the chance that someone sees it. Don't try to hack the companies you apply to. Okay, every time we post a job in that has the cybersecurity title, people try to hack us. It's actually very funny sometimes because, we are a cybersecurity company, so we have honeypots and all the all the stuff you know about in place. But why shouldn't you try and hack a company you're interested in? There are stories about people who have been hired for that. It's just they're just rare cases, and it's not ever a good working relationship with the company that hires you, because you show that you are a liability, okay, to the company. If you can't distinguish what you can and what you can't do on the job, it's a big red flag, okay? And it's a cost for the company, okay? Let's say that you hack them, and now all their customers' information is out there. So they might say, okay, let's put a patch on it and hire this guy for a few months and see how it goes. And then they make you sign all sorts of contracts and NDAs and this and that just to put a patch on it, but they will never trust you. Okay, so build a relationship that's based on trust. Don't do that. Okay, and then last thing, don't fixate on a role. Just think of the skills that are required for that goal instead, and go out to other domains where you can get those skills. And on the do side, in specific expertise, be aware of your competition. This is another thing that typically when you're looking for a job, you don't think much about what our other candidates bringing to the table. We are in a job market where people try to over-represent themselves. Okay, you try to look the best and this and that. You won't last much on the job if you say that you can do a whole bunch of things that you can't do. I'm not saying not to apply for positions where you're not completely qualified for, because it's very difficult. Companies overrepresent their roles as well. But be aware of your competition. So who are you up against? Okay, am I applying for a position where there are people with years and years of experience competing, or am I applying for a position where the title looks very high, but the role itself, it's not that good. In some parts of the world, and this it depends on really where the role is advertised. Some people tend to work for less if they get a big title. It can work out sometimes because maybe these people have a super catchy title in their CVs, but then the skill set doesn't match that title, and sometimes you need to be aware, okay, of what's around you. And then again, show the knowledge of the regulations and laws, show the knowledge of the job market, okay? Try to understand where are you applying to. So if I'm applying to a company that's on the other side of the world, do I understand what that company does and why they're doing it and what they're focusing on, okay? These type of things. Be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, okay? Build on your strengths. It doesn't matter if they're not cybersecurity, just build on them. And show an understanding of what the job is and what's required to do it, and show that you have people skills, super important in cybersecurity. If you don't understand, that you're not the hero in some cases, you're just the person going to tell the company, hey, you have a lot of problems here. You're going to spend this amount of money to fix it. You need to understand that it's stressful on the other side, and you're not giving them good news. Okay. So it might be good for you that you've discovered all of that, but it's bad news for for your customers. So you need to be tactful. You need to understand their point of view. All right. I think that I said everything I wanted to. So it's okay that you don't have it all figured it out. Start from the why and go from there. Okay, that's my take. I hope it was helpful.
Yes, it was. That was, wow. Even me that's not even in cybersecurity, I really gained a whole lot, right? This was very, very, very beautiful, Simona. That's very, very, very beautiful. And if you haven't been paying attention, I'm going to just give you guys a brief rundown of everything Simona talked about in less than 30 seconds. Time me. I'm just joking. And so she best introduced herself, right? But I'm going to go into the cybersecurity part of it. She provided valuable insights on how to land a job in cybersecurity. That's basically the whole premise of this webinar. And she emphasized the importance of developing core cybersecurity skills through certifications, hands-on projects, and continuous learning, and contributing to even open source security projects. And one major takeaway she gave at the end, I'm very sure you guys are here, do not try to hack the company you are applying to. We know you have the skills and you have the expertise. It's beautiful. But when you test a company's security without their permission, that's actually illegal and would actually really ruin your chances of getting hired, because she has seen it firsthand. A lot of people have tried to hack her after she's given them the job. So she actually advised for you to just showcase your skills through, more ethical means, like, participating in all these bug bounty programs or creating projects or doing joint projects together. And she stressed the importance of building trust in cybersecurity. Your employers need to trust you, because if you are not trustworthy, you'll be a liability to them, because you have to handle very, very sensitive documents, and you need the technical skills and the integrity to handle them. And trust is a major currency in the whole field of tech. So you have to prioritize this. Simona, this has been a very, well, like, your session was really beautiful. That's beautiful to say the least. It was beautiful to say the least. I was really, really, I gained a whole lot. I gained a whole lot. And so we're going to take the question. We're going to take 2 to 3 questions. But before we do that, we want to do a quick photo session. So Daniel is here, right? Daniel, Daniel, confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So we're going to do a quick photo session. So everyone, please switch on your cameras. I think Daniel would create permissions to do that now. So switch on your cameras and smile. Once we're about to take the picture, we'll tell you guys. We're about to take it now. So yeah, once you guys switch on, you guys have to switch on your cameras. Just your camera. You don't have to switch on your mic. Just your cameras and the likes. Are you guys able to switch on? Are you able to switch on your cameras? I think I should confirm that first. Please type in the chat box if the cameras are not being enabled, so we'll know. Oh, it's not. Daniel, have you enabled the cameras? It will be enabled now. It will be enabled now. Sorry. It was like 5 seconds. He's doing that now. So yeah, while Daniel is
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Can you
Have you
try
set it up,
again?
Daniel? Can you
Yeah.
try again, everyone? So please try to switch on your. Okay, it's working. So switch on your cameras. Everyone switch on your cameras. Smile for the camera. So I did this. Smile for the camera. Switch on the camera. Smile for the cameras. Yeah. So yeah, just join in. So Daniel, confirm. As majority of everyone's, almost everyone's camera on. So we know if we take the picture.
We
So we can
still
go straight to the
have
question.
Timmy, Alfred. I need to turn on your cameras so it looks full. All right, thank you. Yeah, and definitely please put a smile on your face.
Guys, she smiled. This is going on the LinkedIn or the gram or the newsletter. But you guys should smile. So a big smile on your faces. I see your smiley smile. I see everyone smile.
All right. Okay. A minute. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Fuda.
Beautiful. All of you are looking very beautiful, pretty, shining people. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. So now, without further ado, time is not on our side. So because of time, I'm going to go to the chat box and take question. I'm not going to take questions that she already answered before. I want to just confirm. I want to clarify that to guys. So I'm going to just take questions from that she hasn't mentioned. So okay, there was someone that asked a question in the beginning. Said, why are vulnerability analysis tools restricted to some locations? I don't think you've answered that or mentioned that yet. So yeah. Sorry, did you hear me, Simona?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Got distracted for a moment.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So sorry, can you repeat that question? I didn't hear it.
Okay. Sorry, my bad. You said, why are vulnerability analysis tools restricted to some locations?
Why is it restricted to some locations? So it depends on the regulations of the country. So for example, some countries, like as an example, India, Germany, there are many countries around that restrict where the data can reside from a citizen of the country. So this is just one of the many regulations. So it means that you can't tap into that country's data ever. So there are different industry regulations. There are different standards that countries respect. So especially for pen testing and this kind of activities, they might be restricted. And that's why sometimes when you apply for a job in cybersecurity in a different country, they won't just look at your CV if they see that you're not residing in the country. That's one of the big things that you need to be aware of. I know that some countries, they don't have any of this. It's unregulated, but in North America, it is regulated. In Europe, it's strongly regulated, even if it varies from country to country. So each country in Europe has a different legislation. And other countries out in the world, they have their own. So you need to be aware of that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Simona. So I hope your question is answered, Michael. Yes, I hope your question was, and I hope you got the. So another question here, though it's incomplete. I'm not sure what the question is here. I don't know if Alfred is here, so he will turn on his mic and speak. He said, "Hi, Simona. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. It has been insightful. I have over 5 years of experience in IT networks, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. but it has been difficult getting a job in cybersecurity in Canada. I'm assuming maybe this person wants to ask, like, what is the way forward? I want to assume that's the question because he hasn't really responded to my question.
Yeah.
So I think
yeah, actually, yeah, what's the way forward?
Yes.
What's the way forward?
Yeah.
So if you already have 5 years of cybersecurity experience, try to find a niche. Okay, try to find an industry-specific skill set that allows you to get into that. Because as I said, there is a big crisis for people who are just into cybersecurity and they don't have any collateral skill. So this is what I know many companies are looking for. So it can be risk management, it can be project management, it can be public administration, it can be anything that it's not purely cybersecurity that will give you an advantage over others. Like, again, to give you another example, one of the people we recently hired, he has an incredible background in cybersecurity, but what caught my attention on his CV was that he's an expert in gaming and gambling and all these regulations. So that for me is invaluable because as a company, I can tap into that specific sector and say that I have an expert with that. Okay, so I know that it's difficult, but we have hundreds and hundreds of CVs that come in of people that have strong cybersecurity skills, but they all look the same. All these CVs, they look the same because the certifications give you a standardized skill set, but then it's up to you to get into something specific. Okay, so it's easier if you have a specific skill that you can apply, particular industry, particular background, the finance or people skills. Again, it's you have to differentiate like that.
Okay. All right.
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm very sure your question has been answered. So we'll take one last question because our time is fast spent. But before that, so quick one. The picture did not take it didn't come out the way we wanted. So we just want one more chance to just take the picture all over again. So please can you switch on your camera? So sorry for the stress. So sorry. So yeah, can you switch and please smile, guys. Be happy. You are learning knowledge from the guru herself. Please smile, 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 smile. So Daniel, whenever you're ready, just speak up. So Daniel will take the picture. Daniel, confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. I just need more people to turn on their cameras. I don't know.
So
Yeah,
yes.
I need more people.
So just smile and be happy.
Yeah. Minutes. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay, so the final question before this, we have a special announcement, but I'll take the question. Daniel will review the special announcement. So the final question we'll take that from Anonymous. He said, okay, can you recommend? Okay, I think we'll just take the two one time. This Chidra's question is the last question. Please don't worry. Any more questions, please you should be asking the community, okay? So Daniel related to her, but we don't have enough time. So can you recommend any course or mentorship for individuals who just want to get started in cybersecurity? Want to get started in cybersecurity, or do you run a cybersecurity mentorship course? Well, the second question is it proper to add unprofessional work or skills experience to your CV?
All right. So for the first question, it really depends on what type of cybersecurity training or experience you're looking for. I would say every country, or at least That's how in North America and Europe works. They have cybersecurity programs for individuals who want to get into cybersecurity. If you can get something that it's backed by a government and they have those type of programs, I know that Europe has a very good one, and Canada has a very good one. Probably there is something like that in the United States too. Just look locally if you can find some government-led program on cybersecurity, and there you will gain the knowledge, the practice, and the contacts to start networking and finding companies and professionals that can connect you to someone and get started from there. And for the second question, what it depends what unprofessional means. Okay, if it's a felony, no, don't put it on your CV. if it's if it's something that experience that it's not related to a job and it has valuable skills, yes. Felony, no. Something against the law, no. Just comment. Okay.
Okay, so Simona, okay, I think this question looks very, very necessary. This will be the last question. Please, any other questions, please relay it in the community. We don't have time. But this question looks like something that I think should actually be answered. It said, please, I have a question. How can someone who doesn't have a degree push himself out there to get jobs or opportunities? Madedeji Akinyemi. So yeah.
Okay, so a degree is not it's not that important. I'm not saying it you shouldn't get one, but experience is more important. Ultimately, when a company looks at the CV, they look at experience, they look at the skills that you bring. So it doesn't matter in the end if you don't have a specific degree or any degree at all. So I know that things are different in different countries. So for example, in Europe, they value degrees a lot. In North America, they tend to look more at the practical experience you have. So it's not like a discriminator. There's not such a gap.
Okay. Thank you so much, Simona. So thank you. So that's the last question. So any other questions, please relate it to the community, and Daniel will be happy, very, very happy and elated.